Trump reportedly told Gaetz, quote, "You don't have the votes. These senators aren't moving." Now, to be fair, most of the senators aren't moving because they're all almost 100. Gaetz is out, so there has to be a replacement. Thursday night, Trump announced a more confirmable nominee. Who is the nominee?
Charles Manson.
Definitely more confirmable.
It's former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi. What are Pam Bondi's qualifications and bona fides for leading the Justice Department?
She's an actual lawyer.
She was investigating Trump University for possible criminal prosecution until he gave her $25,000, and then all the charges magically disappeared.
I'd like to announce I am investigating Trump.
She is indeed relatively qualified for the role.
Pam Bondi is exactly what I was saying in the last segment that we should all fear, because she's competent.
I can't believe being competent didn't disqualify Pam Bondi. What are Pam Bondi's plans for the old Justice Department once she gets confirmed?
Whatever the fuck Trump wants, those are her plans.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Coming to America, whatever you like. Here's Pam with the answer.
The Department of Justice, the prosecutors will be prosecuted, the bad ones. The investigators will be investigated, and the House needs to be cleaned out.
That's right. A woman who cleans. That's why Republicans like her. That's Attorney General Pam Bondi, seen here watching an innocent man hang. Who did Pam offend?
She offended people who wanted to see the Epstein lists, right? She
yes.
said she was going to release them, and then it turned out Donald Trump's name was all over them, probably. And so they aren't being released, right?
Yes, Pam Bondi offended MAGA conspiracy theorists by releasing the Epstein Files, Phase 1, which mostly contained, quote, "files that have been circulating in the public domain for years." She just basically took the Epstein list and was like, all right, we put 2 more cuts on the album. Here's the Paminator teasing the release on Jesse Waters.
You said last week that you have the Epstein files on your desk. When can we see them, and what's taking so long to release them?
I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office.
Could she be lying?
The MAGA conspiracy theorists were also mad about the unusual way in which the Epstein list was released. What was that atypical way?
They invited all these, like, influencers to, like, a Chili's in Washington, D.C.
You're right about the who. I don't know if we can verify the location.
Yeah.
Bondi released the files in binders directly to specific online influencers, which infuriated serious journalists like Hercules star Kevin Sorbo, who tweeted, quote, "Our government used children who were trafficked as a publicity stunt. Disgusting." And our favorite MAGA Muppet, Laura Loomer, she tweeted, quote, "I think she should resign." Still no word from Scott Baio. We don't know how he feels about it. We knew it was coming down the pipe because Trump accidentally posted what was supposed to be a DM on the main feed.
Overnight, an extraordinary statement from President Trump. It appeared to be a direct message to his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, but it was posted on Truth Social for the world to see, pressuring her to prosecute his political enemies. The president wrote, in part, "Pam, I have reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially same old story as last time. All talk, no action, nothing is being done. We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility. They impeached me twice. They indicted me 5 times over nothing. Justice must be served now."
See, I'm old enough to remember when that thing right there was an impeachable offense. What I'm saying is I'm older than 8 months old, because that's how...
On Tuesday, Attorney General Pam Bondi testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee. It did not go well. How many illegal immigrants does Pam Bondi say are in Chicago?
1 trillion.
1,000,000,001.
Here she is.
How many illegal immigrants are in Chicago?
Ooh.
Does anybody know?
I do, countless.
You say countless. But if it's countless, what the fuck are you looking for? What are you doing?
Can we just acknowledge that $1 trillion was the closest to countless?
Did y'all notice something interesting at all about how she prepares before she answers each question?
She'd be shuffling them papers like 3-card Monte.
Yeah.
Do you look more or less prepared when you shuffle through papers before answering a question?
I liked it. Every time she shuffled the papers, I really thought she's gonna find what she's looking for. That's great.
Pam Bondi was shuffling and shuffling. Please just watch. That's how I'd be at Cheesecake Factory. I'd just be turning pages and turning pages. Well, thankfully for all of us, there was a Reuters photographer with a camera with a pretty good lens. Jonathan Ernst got a picture of the notes, and they were basically just cheat sheets listing mean things to say to the senators. Baby, hold on, what's your name? Let me get to your shit real quick. I want you to watch this. Watch carefully. This is Senator Whitehouse asking an important question about the president and his involvement with some young women.
There's been public reporting that Jeffrey Epstein showed people photos of President Trump with half-naked young women. Have you seen any such thing?
You know, Senator Whitehouse, you sit here and make salacious remarks, once again trying to slander President Trump left and right, when you're the one who was taking money from one of Epstein's closest confidants, I believe. I could be wrong, correct me, Reid Hoffman.
If you have the file, the binder, filled with information, you should know whether or not he took money from Epstein's biggest supporter, right? Because White House then came out and said, yeah, that's not true at all.
At all. I know Reid Hoffman, that is not true at all.
Senator, I don't know, but your mama's so ugly.
So now, here's the basics. Don Lemon covered a protest at a church in Minneapolis, and afterwards, the feds tried to charge him with a crime, saying he was an aggressor, but it didn't go great.
5 different judges reviewed the evidence against Don Lemon. A magistrate judge who said no, a district court judge who happens to be the chief judge of that district who said no, and 3 appellate judges in the 8th Circuit said no.
And in a post on Friday, Attorney General Pam Bondi said that the arrests were made at her direction.
You know how it is, Mike, when you ask your mama if you can arrest Don Lemon, she say no. Then you ask your daddy, can I arrest Don Lemon? He say no. Then you ask your grandmama.
Then you just ask Pamela Joe. She'd be like, yeah, we'll arrest Don Lemon for you, absolutely.
Well, Tulsi did something that was a little unusual in the midst of all the criticism. She did a perfectly normal 4-page letter explaining why she went to Georgia, and it wasn't just to go to the Coca-Cola Museum. She told lawmakers, quote, my presence was requested by the president.
Of Russia?
Why doesn't that add up?
Because Trump said he didn't send her. That's what I heard.
Trump says Pam Bondi was the one that sent Tulsi Gabbard to Georgia. Here's the president on Thursday after Tulsi sent her letter.
They say, why is she doing it, right, Pam? Why is she doing it? Because Pam wanted her to do it.
She threw Pam under the bus.
That's like when you ever, I don't know if you ever been in police interrogation and you snitching on your partner the whole time. Never mind. On Wednesday, Attorney General Pam Bondi appeared before the House Judiciary Committee to answer questions about her handling of the Epstein Files, and Bondi was nothing but a professional.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No,
Your
you're gonna answer the
theatrics are
question the
ridiculous.
way I asked it.
Chairman Jordan, I'm not going to get in the gutter with these people. You don't tell me.
Yeah, oh, I did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
I'm talking.
If they're not privileged,
Quiet.
Don't yell at me. Didn't ask Merrick Garland anything about Epstein, not once when he was.
Weak sauce.
And also,
You gotta give Pam Bondi this. She's good at spinning some shit, boy. You don't get that good overnight. That's hours of like complaining at McDonald's and Home Depot. What I really love is this one woman's facial expression. Just says it all. Why was Pam Bondi in front of the Judiciary Committee in the first place?
Because the DOJ wouldn't release the Epstein Files the way they should have. Redaction, 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 that's all you got.
Bondi continued to blow up throughout her testimony. And what was the most damning moment for AG Bondi during this hearing?
When she was finally honest and was like, look, I love to protect pedophiles. It's what I was hired to do, and I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna fight anyone who says I can't. Do you remember that part?
I do.
I must admit, I was flipping between that and the Olympics, so I must have missed it.
There was a moment where all the survivors, about a dozen of them, stood up, right? And they all looked at Pam Bondi, and Pam Bondi didn't look at them once. That moment right there, I think, ends her tenure as Attorney General.
Points for Aaron. Why would anyone ever expect Pam Bondi to make a stand against assault?
She made a big show right at the beginning of the administration. We're gonna get out these files, and she gave them to a bunch of right-wing influencers, and she was making a whole big deal of it.
The reason why it's so shocking that Pam Bondi is against defending victims of assault is because she said she would in 2014 during this campaign ad.
Florida ranks 3rd nationally in calls for help for human trafficking, where young women and children are enslaved and abused. I'll fight to put human trafficking monsters where they belong, behind bars.
Pam Bondi, our Attorney General.
That's our Attorney General you're booing.
I'll put human traffickers behind bars. By bars, I mean little black bars on sheets of paper.
Last week, Kristi Noem out on her ear. People were speculating about who's next. The name Pam Bondi keeps coming up. What's Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States? You don't think Judge Jeanine is looking at Pam Bondi and going, I can do that better than you can do that?
So Judge Jeanine is being very emphatic about this issue, and the reason why, CNN's Casey Hunt has a theory.
There's been some conversation around whether Jeanine Pirro is potentially a future replacement for Pam Bondi if the administration is unhappy with her. What do you plan on focusing on with the current Attorney General?
Well, first, I mean, I've heard that same rumor. That would be a complete disaster. I mean, I'm not sure you get worse than Pam Bondi, but that might be it right there.
Is Judge Jeanine worse than Pam Bondi?
For comedy? No.
Yeah.
I have never watched Pam Bondi speak for any real length, you know, just other than clips. Let that hoe get in there. I will watch every fucking minute.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey, are you a fan of Have I Got News For You? Then subscribe to our channel. Tap the subscribe button and click the bell while you're at it to stay up to the minute on our latest videos.